Good morning. Glad to see you back. I think we got a new face. I don't remember. Were you here at the last one? All right. I apologize. That's on me then. But glad to have you back. And I think this is very important. I know there's a locality in the area, and I'm not going to mention who, that we are looking at trying to help them a little bit. It's in another county. And we spent some time on the website last week. And they had some events listed. No picture on the event page, just words. And people don't like that. I don't like that. You'd think there would be pictures of the events. As a matter of fact, this community has the oldest Veterans Day parade in the United States. And nowhere did it say that on the website. So when you're marketing, if you don't tell your story, somebody else will, and you probably won't like how they tell it. So this allows you to be on offense. So look forward to today's program. I think Faith and Savannah and Alex do a good job with this, and you got to tell that story. So I'm gonna turn it over to Faith. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim, and welcome everyone today to our second installment of our website development program. So today it's just going to be more hands-on. We're going to run over several different slides, but it's not going to be anywhere near as long as the last one was as far as training goes. And then we are going to be doing a sitemap with you all, and a couple other things, running over the content. If you already sent us content, we're going to look at that and make sure that you're ready to go and that we can send those things on to the designer. All right, so let's hop in. So again, this is our pre-homework checklist that you all have seen several times by now. It's probably smashed into your brain. This is the deliverables that we would like to send over to the firm to have you ready to go. A note at the very bottom, if you do not have these, we need these by June 2nd at the latest. So maybe you have a bulk of it, but you're missing maybe two things. We are available to schedule a consultation to get those things ASAP if you need extra help. If we sit down and look at your content today and we're like, we think that you could use a little help on this, we can schedule that today to make sure that you're ready to go by that June 2nd deadline. We need to meet that June 2nd deadline for sure. All right, so this is our checklist, our to-do list for today. We are going to be, like I said, looking over that checklist with you all, making sure that you are either completed or that you're near completion. We are going to review that content that you already sent us. We are going to create a sample sitemap that you have that I handed each of you. Looks like this. If you are online, we can send you this template and give you some instructions as far as how to follow that template, that guide. We will maybe do some brainstorming on basic copy if you don't already have ideas or if you need help with that. We're going to take a look at that today, and then we can also help brainstorm any integrations that you need, and also color schemes or just anything else that you might need help filling in the gaps with, we can help you with today. And also check out that QR code, scan it if you need to. That's to be able to schedule a consultation with Savannah or I or a session. All right, so this is our agenda for today. We are going to just do some basic review really quick. What makes a good website? I want you all to be comfortable and confident enough going forward and learning this on your own. That way you can be confident in the future whenever that website is in your own hands to be able to handle. We're going to look at tips for website copy, the text on your website, how to write good website copy. We are going to look at Google Business Profile, setting that up and what that can give you as a business owner and what that does for your business. We're going to look at a sitemap, a sample sitemap. We're going to do the group brainstorm, and then we're going to get hands-on with you guys individually. All right, so let's jump in. So I just wanted to pull back up these statistics again, just to refresh it in all of our minds. If you're online, this was in our last installment. I included these statistics, and they're very, very eye-opening as far as how important your design is and how important the layout of your website is. We saw that it takes just 50 milliseconds, which is an insane short amount of time for your customer, your potential customer, your viewer to gain just an overall impression of your website. 94% of people admit their first impressions are design related, layout related. So it's so, so important. I won't read all of these, but it just shows the importance of a good layout, a good aesthetic, a good design of your website. This is why we want you to feel comfortable moving forward and you having these tools, these keys. All right, so what makes a good website? Just a quick review. Again, this content was in the last installment of our training, but I just want to, again, refresh all of our memories on this. So again, I like to refer to that balance, that perfect balance of you have content on one side and you have design on the other. Content as far as the flow, the layout, the quality of your elements, your logos, your photos. The design is the overall color scheme, font scheme, how those different things are put together, if it has a good aesthetic, a visual appeal, that sort of thing. So we want that good content, but it needs to be packaged in that appealing way. Again, you can have the best content, the best copy, the best photos, but if it's not put together in a visually appealing way, then it's ultimately not going to capture your customer or your potential customer. So we have clear message. Again, I cannot emphasize this enough. You want correct information on your website. You want a clear vision and mission statement. As soon as they hit your homepage, they need to know who you are and what you offer right off the bat. Also, how does your product or service, I asked you all to think this over in the last class, how does your product or service benefit your customer? What is your unique selling point? What problem are you solving for them? And do they easily know that whenever they visit your website? Quality content, again, so important. You want good quality photos. You want good quality logos. You want copy, the text of your website that's easy to understand and easy to read. You want content that contains all needed and relevant information and making sure that it's up to date. Again, I put this on here. Updating content weekly, monthly, or as it changes. You know, Cindy, you offer maybe a daily special, going in there and putting that on your website so they can see what that is. And we recommend changing the overall design of your website every 2 to 5 years. And this just ensures that it's up to date, it's modern, the aesthetic is fresh, that sort of thing. Good design goes hand in hand with the quality content. You want that good, attractive aesthetic. Again, the design firm is going to carry the load on this one. You want your elements to be well organized. You want the layout to be how it needs to be. Not text heavy or cluttered. This is really important. We're going to touch a little bit on this later. Some tips that I have for this. Complementary colors. I think most of you all have a pretty set color scheme that we could tell. So that's good. But for anyone else that might be undecided who's watching this later on, you want those colors and those fonts that go well together, like we mentioned in the last installment. And if you need help with the color scheme, we're here to help you. And also the firm can make recommendations as well. And you want that ease of use and functionality too. And again, the firm will ensure this. Last, it captures your target audience. I hope that you all each know who you're trying to target. If your site doesn't cater to that person, to that target, then it's ultimately pointless. You know, you have created this to be something for them that captures their attention, that, you know, gets them to your product or your service and showcases who you are to that target audience. So that's really important. And you want the content to be catered to that target audience. And again, Savannah had mentioned that resource, Answer the Public, and we're going to mention it later on. That is so great to understand, what is my target audience asking? What do they need? What are their problems that they're trying to solve? That's a really great tool to use. So check that out as well and utilize that in your strategy. And also it hits the mark of generating sales and gaining customer interest or informing your customer. And for you all, you're just doing informational. That's going to be generating sales in the sense that it gets them interested in what you offer. You're not selling it from the website, but you're wanting to gain their attention, inform them, and get them to the next step, if that makes sense. All right, so let's look at website copy just for a little bit. These are just some tips and tools as far as what makes good website copy. And again, website copy is any text that is on your website at all. So number one, I recommend to keep scanners in mind. Again, going back to that 50 milliseconds, you have a very short period of time that viewers are willing to spend on your website. And if they have to just scroll and scroll and scroll through paragraphs of information, then that may not be the best for them. And you know, there's times and places for that, as far as maybe putting a privacy policy or something of that nature. There's a time and place for paragraphs of information, but as far as your homepage and some other key pages that you want to grab that attention, you want text that is short, that is easy to digest. Use bullet points, use lists, something that keeps in mind. I'm working with a very small attention span here. Again, you want the most relevant info at the top. I think I mentioned this with flow of content in our last class. Follow that pyramid scheme. What is the most important thing that I'm trying to get across to my customer or to my potential customer? Put that at the top of your homepage. Put that, you know, if it's whatever page it is, think about what's the most important piece of information I want on this page, and then go from there. Get rid of jargon. And I say as applicable. Jargon, do we all know what jargon is? Pretty straightforward. So jargon would be any word that is maybe boxed into your industry, that maybe someone who is only in your industry or your business type would know. I would suggest steering clear of that as you can, making it understandable for the general public or your target audience. Now, if your target audience is a group of folks who would understand that jargon, then that's perfectly fine. But avoid that as you can, making those terms understandable to someone who may not be fully aware of what it means. Research those keywords. Again, Answer the Public is such a great resource. Look up those keywords and put those in your website. And that can be in a header, that can be in the body of your text. Again, the firm will be, very helpful in doing this initially, but later on, when you have that website in your own hands, you need to constantly make sure that you're keeping that up to date and you're plugging in those keywords as you need to. Sweet and simple format. This is really important, like I mentioned earlier, with keeping the scanners in mind. I would recommend 4 to 6 sentence paragraphs for your body text, little chunks of information. Again, you might have those pages like a policy page that is going to be a little bit longer, but as far as your normal pages, you want to avoid lots and lots of text as you can. Use active voice and delete unnecessary repetition. If you have your homepage and you already stated a piece of information at the top, you don't need it again at the bottom. So just a note for that. Emphasize how you serve and solve. We kind of covered this in the last class. Explain how you serve your customer, or make sure that they're aware of how you are serving them, what you are doing for them. Customers will listen to someone who solves their problems. So make sure that this is included on your website clearly. Keep in mind the so what. So what does your product or service do for your customer, and how does it help them? Again, it goes back to making sure they're aware of, how am I going to serve you? How am I going to meet your need as a customer? And then the last one, which is my personal favorite, follow the purple cow example. Does anyone know the purple cow marketing example? No. So it sounds off the wall. But Seth Godin, he's an entrepreneur. He came up with this marketing concept, and it kind of goes like this. If you're driving down a road, and we drive down these roads all the time here in Bluefield and around this region, and you see a field with cows on it, You've seen cows a million times, but if you drove down that road and you looked over and you saw a purple cow, it would grab your attention, wouldn't it? You would be like, what? So he has this concept of be the purple cow, stand out among the crowd. You want your website to essentially be that place that stands out among your competition. You want to find those unique selling points that allow you to stand out, that allow you to be that purple cow, that unique, selling point. So that's just something to keep in the back of your mind. How am I going to stand out for my competition? And how can my copy, whether it's your headers that grab people's attention, or just how you say things, how can that keep my viewers' attention? And just a helpful side note at the bottom, users spend an average of 5.59 seconds looking at a website's written content. So that just tells you alone how important it is that we really want to get the website copy as best as we can in a way and in a format that's going to retain the viewer's attention. All right, so I'm going to have Savannah come up and share some on the Google Business Profile, which is a very helpful tool, you guys.
So, do you guys remember? So, now you guys remember talking about SEO, what you can do on your own to incorporate SEO, whether it's design or your business person. So, there's a neat little tool called Google Business Profile. It's formerly called Google My Business. It gets reasons why your business is not here as that little search exercise last time. So once you train your business, you can right away from Google, you're logged into your Google account. And if you don't have Google account or you can make one specifically just for messing around with Google products like Google My Business, Google Player, Google Ads, and so on. So I'm going to show you a demo I use two things as an example because Cindy is actually trained for profile. So what's really neat is right away you can see over here we have dynamic first second deficit, but ToDo List. Is it correct that you offer first second depth? You have our address right here. When you click on it, it automatically opens up your get that and it shares that located inside the national building. Which I know you're in that building, so it's another way to help folks figure out where you are. Like for example, we're on Google My Business profile. Folks can find us, and we're inside of Google. Another really helpful tool that you're able to edit your hours on Google and add hours for holidays. I don't know about y'all, but Memorial Day, y'all know what time Walmart opens in Memorial Day? Or whatever. It's really nice to call and say, you're able to go and specifically say, hey, on Memorial Day, what day? So we're going to see a couple other things that we can. So right away, the health and safety staff are max, staff are required to phone number. But one really important note, if you go to Google yourself, you kind of see a partial profile there. Now if I went to do that, and I click it, and request access or support. Okay, so in addition to your holiday hours, you can showcase new products and actually apply to a user right away with an aspect actual option. Well, and there's other things. So updates on. So another really cool part about Google My Business is insight. So right away, I'm looking at this. You log into your account. You can direct which people find your business profile, searching for your business or on our address. Have discovery, which is people who find your business profile for particular category, product, or service. Then you have branded, and that's for folks who are looking for things. So we're logged into our account, and as you can see, most of the time must be separate. So they're not necessarily searching for us, and some are by name or address, but they're searching for something different. Then when we go down, where customers see people. So as you can see, 526 views posted per people, and 332. We've got total actions this month. So you can see how many folks clicked to visit your website, how many folks requested directions, how many folks called, and then you're able to direct requests in 1 month. The folks highlighted in this zip code will want to ask for directions. So you see, it's not really much folks on the download link or tap or asking for directions for our site. So that again, this is all. Of course, if you have to update it with your website or your address or something like that, right away. But we're able to see phone calls when it comes to photos. You can see I looked at our photos 6 times. This is right. So this is really where marketing is like really, I think it's really important that that they're aware that you're using this because it gets into once you have, say, you're building your website, you're working with IT, stuff, you'll have to enter your URL. And what that is when you enter your URL, it's able to give you specific data what people are looking up to find your business online. So what's important is if you're going to have to put your domain and permission that gives you a code that has to be pasted in your website. So if you're comfortable doing that, it has instructions for you to read WordPress. If not, I still highly recommend so right away, we're able to see the number of clicks and total impressions in the last 3 months. So 37,000. And then down here, which is really cool, is you're curious, what are people typing into Google to find you? Remember last week we did the answer the public. Here's how people are actually looking for it. And right away, there's only one Google economic health story. And people are searching for Bluestone Health, Bluestone Dental Practice, Bluestone Health, Center Location, and so forth. But why? Why is that popping up? That's to be what we talk about. So all of us doesn't have to be what we're creating that as a go ahead and do this now.
Okay. So this is one of our goals today is to fill this out with you guys. And it's going to be fairly easy because actually all of you, I think all of you possibly already have a website. So we're going to sit down, we're going to look at what you already have, and we're going to look at what you might need, where the gaps are as far as pages you need and content under those pages. So a sitemap, all a sitemap is the map of your website. It's pretty straightforward. We are going to fill in the boxes with what pages you need. And then under those, you see the different other pages that might be needed under that main page. So we're going to take a look at that later. But I just wanted you to see an example of what your map might look like. So this is just a basic website sitemap. This would be, these gray blocks would be the navigation menu at the top. We see about, products, contact, blog, login, cart. Under the about page, you might have our story, our mission page. You might have our team, meet the team page. You might have our clients or folks we've worked with, and so on and so forth. So it's pretty self-explanatory, but this is such a good tool to hand off to your design firm, because then they already have that basic layout to get started on your website. And then the goal is for them to have the content from you ready to go. So all they really have to do is start plugging in and making your website look beautiful, and also work beautifully in the back end and the SEO part of it too. So we're going to fill this in with you all after we finish up. All right, so I'm going to just maybe set a timer. We might not do 7 minutes, we might do 5. I want you all to look at each of these questions and start brainstorming in your head. If you need to write down, if you need to take notes, we want to talk to you about these whenever we sit down for brainstorm time, but we want to think about, okay, what pages do I need, or what pages do I need to add? Maybe I already have a basic foundation, but we would like to add this, or we would like to add this. So start thinking about that. Do you need policies page? Do you need a terms and agreements page? What about, you all won't need a cart page because you're doing informational. Some folks maybe watching online might. You might need an FAQ. I know you had mentioned with body and skin, that might be helpful for clients to see. So that's a great idea. Testimonials. And testimonials, you may not need to have a separate page for it. You could, if you wanted to really showcase that, but that might just be, a portion of your homepage or some other page to include that on. Do you know your main mission and vision? Do you have that statement ready to go? This was part of the pre-homework checklist for you all. What color scheme are you leaning towards? Are you set on the one you currently have, or would you like to explore more? Do you know your target audience? That's so important. This is a really key one. I would like for us to hit with you when we sit down. What do I 100% need on my homepage? What are those calls to action? What information do I need that my customer immediately needs to see on my homepage? And then last, do I need certain integrations? That might be Square, Shopify for folks watching that might be accepting payments online. MailChimp, which can integrate email marketing. QuickBooks, it's a great accounting software, or an event plugin, etc. We can explore those and think those through. So I just want you to take just a few minutes and look at those, jot down ideas, and just start thinking those through really quickly. All right, I'm going to jump back in. If you're still thinking those things through, go right ahead. But we are actually going to transition out of our training and into the hands-on brainstorm. So again, we're first gonna look at the content that you already sent us. You know, if we see something that we think you could use extra work on, or if you all know that you need extra help on something, then we need to schedule those consultations today before June 2nd is the goal. We're going to fill in that sitemap. We are going to talk about basic copy ideas for your pages, hear you out if you have any, and maybe make suggestions. We're going to brainstorm any additional things you might need, help you fill those gaps, and then answer any questions. So do we have any questions right off the bat from the training, anything that we covered? That's a good question. And so someone in the training, if anyone's watching online, they asked if it's a possibility to have multiple locations through the Google business profile. And Savannah said, yes, that is a possibility. So if you would need help setting that up, you would just let us know. All right, so we are going to transition to hands-on. So if you're watching online, thank you for joining us. And that commences our second training.